The time is just gone 10 minutes to 9 a.m. and we are now looking at Sanral, the South African National Roads Agency, and they've extended the e-toll collection contract for a further year, with the contract being awarded to a company called ETC, Electronic Toll Collections. And we're joined on the line this morning by Organization Undoing Tax Abuse CEO, Dr. Wayne Duvenage. Wayne, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Morning. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what doctor
Wow. I'm sure somebody's given you an honorary doctorate.
I'm happy with that.
You'll take it any day. Well, Wayne, let's talk about this latest development with regards to Sanral and this contract that is now being awarded to ETC or extended for another year. And I do believe that there are certain legal issues on whether they can or they cannot legally extend this contract.
Well, it's just become such a debacle, but the long and short of it, this contract was a 5-year contract that the collection process of e-toll, so it was given to ETC and it was supposed to end in December 2018. Then with all the uncertainty and the confusion, they decided, well, before they go and issue more tenders, let's see what the government's going to do about e-tolls, because by then the compliance was right down to 20%, and I think they realized they'd given up. So they extended it for a year, and with the proviso to extend another year. So they got a 2-year grant from Treasury to extend till up to this December today, if they needed to. Then they decided to go out on tender last year, because not so much for the e-toll collections, but because they want to use this system for integrated billing on parking and other toll roads. I think they know that the e-toll scheme has collapsed, but they don't want to lose the opportunity to earn some revenue on the system. There's nothing wrong with that, other than the fact that the e-toll billing is not working and they must scrap that in time. And I think that was their plan, but that whole tender that they put out was challenged this year by Kucha, which is ETC in another disguise. And so the judge hasn't announced on his ruling, and we sit in limbo. But from what we gather, Sanral has already got approval from Treasury, and they've extended this for another year now to the end of next year. It's mind-blowing that you can have an SOE that has a tender with a supplier for 5 years and it ends up to become an 8-year one. There's something seriously wrong with the system. But our view of this, the scheme has collapsed. They acknowledge that the plug will be pulled. It should have been pulled for some time ago. We believe the government will announce the end of e-tolls in the new year once this tender has been put out or assigned, and the new purpose of the ETC collection process for integrated public transport is put in place. Then I think e-tolls will be scrapped.
Wayne, in your analysis, what game is Sanral actually playing? Because you made this point that this entire e-toll debacle has been a total embarrassment for Sanral since inception.
Yeah, look, I think they are just really trying. I mean, it's costing them more to have e-tolls. They want government to rule on the alternative. Once that happens, the funds will then come from Treasury, as they should have always, and have, by the way. Treasury has been bailing out this failed scheme in the past number of years. So I think our problem with Sanral is their lack of transparency. They're not keeping the public informed of exactly what's happening. We are going to court next year to get the details of all their tolling, because we believe that the toll concessions, the privatized ones, they are earning a lot of money and the state's not getting their fair share, or not enough of it. And the sad reality is that this is information that has to be available to the public, and yet they refuse to provide it. So now we have to go to court and get that information. So the long and short of Sanral's role to society, it's a debacle. It's despicable how they treat civil society, and we will fight them ongoingly, as we have done on the e-toll matter. Not because that we don't believe in Sanral. They do build good roads, and we need a Sanral. It's just we need to know how much money we could be earning on these other concessions. They are also tendering for privatizing of all these other toll routes that they currently own. That's a concern for us. So we'll be looking into that project in the new year.
Exactly. And another issue that you feel quite strongly about and OUTA feels very, very strong about is the question of accountability because of corruption and waste of public money.
Well, absolutely. We have gathered that there appears to have been some corrupt activity around this e-toll matter in 2009 to 2012. We have written to ETC. We are waiting for a report that they are doing an investigation into a 10 million rand expenditure. We'll report on that as soon as we get the information back. But, the fact that this tender was changed right in the beginning and increased, the fact that the roads cost double the price, this is what's wrong in this country, is that our state-owned entities pay more than 2 to 3 times than the rest of the world pays for roads and power stations and stadiums to be built. And that's because government and the corruption that has been happening in the past on the SOEs are not playing their role in the best interests of society.
The key question here, Wayne, is how decisive is the government? How decisive is President Cyril Ramaphosa? Because we know, he's been instructing the Minister of Transport and the Gauteng Premier and Finance Minister to resolve this issue. And at the end of the day, we don't see anything that is forthcoming.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we are concerned that the Minister, Fikile Mbalula, has done very little to resolve the e-toll impasse. He was given those instructions in 2019. We're going into 2021, so 2 years nearly passed, and he hasn't done much there, despite having all the input and evidence that the scheme has failed and they can't resurrect it. They can't hold the public accountable. So that's disappointing. On the wider front of corruption and government, I think we are starting to turn the corner. It was a few months ago that the public was saying Ace Magashule will never be arrested, and that's changed. He'll be in court in February. All the evidence is strong against him. So we think the tide is turning when it comes to accountability and making this government a little bit more efficient. But it's taking too long to turn the ship around, and we've got so much work to do going forward from here. So 2021 is going to be a hard year to get us out the hole. And civil society's role is to keep holding government's feet to the fire where they get it wrong.
Exactly. And just finally, in terms of any advice you can give to people obviously being intimidated by what we're reading about, e-toll and e-toll collections, and what should people be doing?
Don't pay your e-toll bills. I can tell you now that the money is better in your account than in Sanral's account. It's as simple as that. They are not summonsing anybody anymore. They're sending out letters of demand. A lot of people are reading those as summonses. They are not. As final letters of demand. If you get a summons, that is a summons, then you contact OUTA and we will put you into the test case scenario. Your case will then be put on hold. And by the way, they've put that whole test case scenario on hold themselves. They're not summonsing as far as we know. So, we say this case is strong. Our case is strong and the scheme is unmanageable. They cannot enforce it. So stand your ground and do not pay your e-tolls. If you want to, you can. It's your choice. But 8% of the public, 85% now, we believe, is not paying. And the money's better in your account than in Sanral. You're not going to get it back if e-tolls is cancelled. You just know that.
Well, Wayne, not a doctor, but thank you very much for that and for your time with us this morning. All the best to you.
All the best. Bye.
Wayne Duvenage joining us, CEO of Organization Undoing Tax Abuse. And this e-toll debate is definitely not going away. Let's hope it goes away quite soon or pretty soon. And the sooner decisions are made regarding this debacle, the better. And that takes us straight on to 9 a.m. now. Remember, at around 9:20, we're going to be joined by Stephen McGowan, and he's written a book. He is the longest serving Al-Qaeda hostage, and he was held in captivity in Mali in 2011. And he's written a book called 6 Years with Al-Qaeda, and about him converting to Islam. So this is going to be quite interesting, and that's at around 9:20. This interview is going to go out live on our Facebook page as well. So you can log on to Facebook youtube.com/Salam Media to view this interview. And he is a South African, and he was seized in 2011, released in 2017. And interesting to hear what his thoughts, and also in terms of accepting and adapting to change. The time is just gone 9 a.m. We're heading for the news. We'll be back.
أنت